Hello and welcome to the second Fulgrim's Weekly Crusade. I'm going to be talking a little bit about what's been going on in Eternal Crusade this week for me and for heavy bolters in general. First of all, it's been confirmed that the heavy bolter accuracy bug is still present. That's the one that shows a difference between what you see and what others see, which is believed to be at the heart of the heavy bolter's weak damage. That is, we're actually missing more shots than is indicated on our own screen. Michael Chan and Brent Ellison have put together a video to show to the coders, so hopefully this will finally get locked down in a future patch. This bug, combined with the recoil reduction and decreased field of view that Michael has said is coming, should see a marked increase in the ability of a heavy bolter user to keep their shots on target. Honestly, if these kinks are worked out, I expect that we'll find that the heavy bolter is right where we want it to be design-wise. Moving on, while it doesn't affect me directly, living in New Zealand, the first non-North American servers have been opened up in the EU. Hooray for our European players. We'll find out if that actually applies to Great Britain or not. I also finally got to see Magon for about 10 minutes and then the game crashed. Fortunately, I got back into the same game and was able to see the rest of it. I can see why people have been saying that it's hard to assault. It's very defensible with limited approaches to a point, and having to cap the A point first means you're facing almost the entire team with a drip feed of respawns, or at least that was my experience in that particular match. I ended up seeing it only one more time this week, and we lost the defense to Chaos, so lost both matches, both to Chaos. It seems to me that Chaos are strong and numerous in melee and strong at range with their sorcerers and autocannons. The middle ground is more even, but that very quickly closes to melee range with no way of preventing that closing. Stream of corruption has been a common topic in both the general access forums and the founders forum. Many users seem to think it's fine when compared to the range of bolters, while the victims complain about the range and the difficulty breaking line of sight due to the way it sticks to the target. My personal experience is that its effective range is basically 100% of its range, unlike other weapons, and that if I don't move immediately upon it being targeted on me, I'm going to be downed. This means it's highly effective in forcing people to stop what they're doing and move away in ways that most weapons aren't. So that's a really good way to counter an in-place position. Just tap them with the Stream of Corruption, and if they don't move out of their in-place position, they're going to die. Personally, I find it very difficult to counter at the longer ranges in particular. There has been a response from Brent Ellison on the matter, who has said that the range is going to be reduced in the next patch, but more psychic powers will be added to compensate for that. So we'll see how that goes. A topic that has been fairly active in the past but is now waning is the changes to the Mark of Nurgle. There has been debate as to whether the mark itself or war gear is better to choose. I feel that in many cases the Mark of Nurgle appears to be the better choice. It's always useful, it's always on, and it's not going to run out like the grenades or the health pack. The argument has been made that you can only take a bare bones loadout due to the cost of the Mark of Nurgle, but in this part of the video you can see that guy's packing a power fist. So you're not restricted just to a chainsword, and grenades in a health pack are not why this raptor here ends his spree at 76% health. I suspect that what is going on is that players at the higher end of the skill curve are choosing to forego the Mark of Nurgle in favour of more tactical options, while the middle and lower end of the pack are more likely to choose the greater margin of error that the higher effective health gives them. On a more personal note, I've completed work on my garrison test data. It's now feature complete, as in I've got data for all infantry and melee weapons. There's some data is still missing, charged plasma doesn't behave well enough to get clear results, and the rate of fire of charged plasma is dependent on how much the weapon is charged, so I haven't put that data in. The data itself is still up for questioning though, so if something doesn't seem right to you, stop by that thread and let me know. One issue I've been having, but only noticed recently, is imprecise mouse movement. My reticle was only moving in discrete portions, making for jittery aiming and difficulty in precise placement at long range. I'm guessing this is part of the reason I've been having difficulty landing all of my shots and thus feeling like my damage is low. It also affects being able to return fire from things like turrets and tanks. I've tried to replicate the ease with which laser cannons avoid that return fire, but I haven't been able to, implying that it's my shooting, not their position. I'm using a Logitech G502, but the same behaviour occurs when using a Razer Mamba and on an entirely different computer using an entirely separate G502. I've noticed similar behaviour in Spec Ops The Line and GTA 4, but not in Portal 2, Space Marine, Saints Row the Third, State of Decay or Alan Wake. I had a chat with a weekly gaming buddy, and his Google foo showed up similar issues being raised on both the Unreal 4 and Unreal Tournament forums. After following that rabbit hole, I ended up in the custom input.ini file, where I adjusted the X and Y mouse look axes from 1 to 0.02. After upping the sensitivity and DPI settings to compensate, this smoothed things out enough that I was able to properly target things at range. I've also been dabbling with some other factions and weapons to get an idea of what it's like at the other end of some things, in particular Stream of Corruption, the autocannon and the shuriken cannon. Using the Stream of Corruption demonstrated to me how easy it is to get a lock on, and once it's latched, let it do the work while I AD strafe a little to avoid return fire. I was even able to win a melee fight against an Eldar Warlock just by poisoning him. The foul regeneration was not so easy to get properly latched on an ally, but I think I would prefer the Aspiring Sorcerer to the Apothecary myself from a gameplay point of view. The autocannon I didn't like as much as I would have expected. Though it's easier to place a single shot at long range, I had trouble getting multiple shots on a target. I suspect that my mouse precision issues were making it more punishing on a weapon with a lower rate of fire and less spread than a heavy bolter. The shuriken cannon honestly made me feel sorry for those users. Although I know that it isn't actually, it felt like it was weaker than the heavy bolter, and having to find angles to shoot around railings and cover was just a pain in the ass. Playing the other factions also gave me some insight into how their battles go. As Eldar, we attacked Chaos on Magon, which was surprisingly enjoyable. I haven't enjoyed that much against Chaos on the attack. As Eldar, we managed to push them all the way to sea, and then they pushed us all the way back. It was a really good match. I don't know why this was more fun than fighting against Chaos as LSM, but it was. As Chaos, when I was playing Chaos, I found that the momentum of the game just carried us forward to a clear win. I never managed to get on the other side of that Eldar match though, to face Eldar as Chaos. Chaos seems stronger at range than LSM, since they get the same heavy weapons plus the autocannon and the Stream of Corruption, but they also seem stronger in melee, although that could well be just because they field more melee. My hypothesis is that Eldar are better able to deal with strong melee because they have a strong close quarters game, which can deal with the melee before they close, but LSM just don't seem to be able to do that as effectively. Overall, I enjoyed my Chaos and Eldar matches, but haven't enjoyed that many of my Loyalist matches this week. All of the games I played against Eldar fell into the enjoyable basket. Since they can't push in with melee so strongly, it's more of a ranged game, which I find more enjoyable, personally. I'm thinking exploring the other factions a bit more should be worthwhile, and I'd be interested in getting comments below from anyone who spreads their game time across more than one faction. Well, that's it from me this week. Thank you for listening, and if you want to leave a comment about anything that I've said, please feel free to do so below, or pop on across to the forums and leave me comments there.